Alright, sorry about that. How's it going, everybody? On the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether the price is going up or down. Over on our Dixie for the daily, we are pushing down overall, rejecting our EMA levels. Watch for a continuation below that green EMA. If we see a continuation here, it's likely we would push down to that golden pocket area we have mentioned before. Stochastic is pushing down, RSI is pulling back, that VWAP is rejecting away, momentum is falling, and money flow is pulling back. Right now, we are seeing more of that inverse correlation still remain true. So if that does remain true, likely if Dixie pushes down, that would push crypto further up. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are pushing forward. This is very positive. We are continuing up, but we have a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle forming, so watch that close. That could cause a bit of a rounding top and retrace these gains. We did run up very quickly. We did see a little bit of bearish momentum and pullback along the way, but it wasn't very big and it didn't pull back much of the gains, so it's likely we could end up dropping away here. Our stochastic does want to round away, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is weakening, momentum has a red dot, and money flow wants to break down, so exercise caution. Over on our total for the daily, we did try to get a breakout, but we were unsuccessful, so watch tomorrow's candle, because if it's a red candle, it's likely we would push down to the 300 EMA, and if we break that, we will push down to the bottom of our channel, possibly getting that bearish breakdown. So that's why you want to watch for that move where we said you want to see the break forward, then pull back, retest the top, and then continue and bounce. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is gaining strength, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum is pushing up, and money flow does want to push up. Watch those lower time frames though. If they remain more bearish, it's likely we could break down on the higher time frames. Over on the 4 hour, we do have a potential long lower shadow candle. It is also a potential hammer candle. So if followed by a red candle, we could break down, but if followed by a green candle, it's likely we would try another break up. Momentum does want to round, VWAP is pulling back, money flow does want to push down, stochastic is selling off, and RSI is starting to curl away, so I would watch very close here. Over on the 2 hour, we are starting to see a bit of a rounding top form, stochastic is dropping, RSI is pulling back, momentum is rounding with that red dot, VWAP is breaking down with lower highs and lower lows, creating a bearish trend to push momentum lower and causing money flow to lose steam, so watch that very close. It could start to weaken those higher time frames, and as total does lead our altcoins, that could push other altcoins down. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is dropping down, momentum is rounding with a red dot as that VWAP holds bearish. Watch as we have lower highs with lower lows, pushing momentum and money flow lower. If that continues, it's likely again we would touch that 300 EMA and try to push toward the bottom. Again, that's why the confirmation of your break forward is very important, like we mentioned the last several days. So over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we did push forward. We did get a little bit of a bullish break up on our lower time frame patterns. Stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, momentum is rounding, VWAP is pushing down, and money flow does want to become more bullish. Over on the 4 hour, we did have a push forward here. It's kind of hard to see. If we draw right here, we can change our colors. We'll make this blue and blue real quick. So there is a bull flag within our rising channel. That bull flag was successful. We broke the 300 EMA. We did manage to continue above that break, and that's what gave us our break forward. So we will delete all this patterns because they are no longer valid. We got our full move to the upside and we invalidated our downside momentum. That is positive for short-term price action because we could push further up to that 65.5, providing lower time frames are more bullish. But for long-term price action, it's not very good because this could cause a pressure to the break to the downside. Remember, we do have that 54K gap, and if we do break away here, we would fill that gap. Stochastic is starting to break down, momentum is rounding with a double red dot, VWAP is breaking down, and money flow is pulling back, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on the 2 hour, we are overall rounding away, stochastic's dropping, momentum is falling, VWAP is seeing lower highs and lower lows, money flow is dropping as a result, so we're losing some steam there. If that continues, we will weaken higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, momentum is rounding away with the double red dot, RSI is pulling back, stochastic is dropping with a bearish cross, is making that RSI weaken and bringing price action lower with it. That VWAP also has a bearish trend here. Again, if that continues, we will weaken those higher time frames. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did call a bull flag in our Discord as well, so if you're not in that, you should. It's free, it's in our description. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength, VWAP is bullish, money flow is trying to push forward, so we do look decent on the daily. I would watch for a continuation. I will delete this pattern as it has played out, and we got our full break forward. But I would watch as we did try to break that 63K, and now we are pulling back. This is a long lower shadow candle, so if followed by a strong green candle, we could still push forward. But again, watch for a red candle, because if it's a red candle, it will act as more of that red hammer candle to create a rounding top. Our momentum does want to round away with a double red dot. VWAP is breaking down, and money flow is starting to drop. Over on the 2 hour, again, we are rejecting that EMA, trying to retest that level of that 63.1. If we can break above and hold, we will continue forward to that 65.5 like we mapped out. However, if we do not reclaim this area, it's likely we could push down, possibly making a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder if we're not careful to break us lower toward that 300 EMA. Stochastic is dropping, RSI is weakening, VWAP is pushing down in a bearish trend, and money flow is pulling back. Over on the 1 hour, very similar to the other time frames, we are trying to make a rounding bottom, so I would watch the next candle. If it's green and we break that resistance, we could continue up. However, if it's red, it's likely we will reject resistance, break this consolidation range, and continue lower. Stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is weakening, momentum is pushing down, that VWAP is in a bearish trend, and money flow is pulling back, so overall I would exercise caution. Over on graph for the daily, we are trying to push forward. We did try to break that yellow EMA, but we were unsuccessful, so we did push near that 16.316, but I would exercise caution. This could show bulls tried to push us up, and bears are starting to gain some strength. Our stochastic is pushing up, VWAP is bullish, momentum does want to push forward, and money flow is bearish, but if the VWAP can stay bullish on lower time frames, we can push forward. Over on the 4 hour, we do have higher highs. I would watch for higher lows. If we get higher lows, that could push us forward, but we are rejecting that 300 EMA. Our stochastic is dropping down, RSI is breaking down, momentum is rounding, VWAP is pulling back, and money flow is starting to sell off, so I would exercise caution. That could weaken higher time frames if we break bearish and hold. Over on our 2 hour, we are rejecting that green EMA. Stochastic is pushing down, RSI is pushing down, momentum is rounding, VWAP is breaking neutral, and money flow is starting to sell off, so I would exercise caution. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish, momentum will break down, and money flow will continue lower. Again, watch for that shoulder, head, and shoulders. Same thing going on here. Over on the 1 hour, RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is dropping, VWAP is in a bearish trend, our money flow is pulling back, so I would exercise caution. Again, as that VWAP favors bearish, money flow could flip red, and we could start to weaken higher time frames. Over on Ankr for the daily, we did try to push toward that point control, that blue line of our fixed range volume profile, but we were unable to hold. We are trying to cling to it, so watch very close. Stochastic is pushing forward, RSI is pushing up, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum is pushing up, and that money flow does want to gain strength, so we do look positive, but just watch as we did hit that 2883 like we said, but we did reject it. Stochastic does want to run, momentum is running with a double red dot, VWAP is breaking down, and money flow is starting to pull back, so overall I would exercise caution, watch for a rounding top or a head and shoulders. Our momentum on the 2 hour is pushing down, VWAP is favoring bearish, money flow is pulling back, stochastic and RSI are dropping, leading to price dropping. Over on the 1 hour here, RSI is pulling back, momentum is starting to break down, that VWAP is in a bearish trend, much like our other coins, stochastic and money flow are weakening, so overall I would watch out, we could continue to break down. Over on XRP for the daily, we are trying to hold in this higher 57 area that is positive. We did push toward that 60 cent like we said, but we did not manage to break through. Stochastic is trying to push up, RSI is pretty flat, momentum is pushing forward, but that VWAP is starting to pull back. Watch that VWAP close. If it breaks bearish on lower time frames, that money flow could flip red, and we could start to push down. Over on the 4 hour, we could have a triple top here, exercise caution, because a triple top is a bearish pattern. That's where you have 3 consolidation ranges. I did not draw that very well, so we will have to move that top just a slight bit right there. So you could mix the candle bodies and wicks, depends on your trading style. If you do, you could measure up there, but either way, we have a peak here, and a peak here. So if we reject here,